Thank you, thank you. You've been a great audience. Good night.
What the hell are you doing? We're late for the show.
The podcast isn't the only job I have. Entertaining these people is my passion.
Hey, that's great. So, about the show.
Yeah, let's go. You don't understand fine arts.
Isn't it convenient how everything we do seems to sound to the current theme? Hey, welcome to Late Night. I'm the MarioMaster.
And I'm Huntzerz.
And I hope you liked our new intro music. It's by Kevin MacLeod. He's a great composer who makes free music.
All you have to do is credit him.
Indeed. Today's topic is about comedy.
But first, MarioMaster, I'd like to actually mention something before we get on to that, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
I'd actually like to talk about the the DNS virus.
That's been popping up a while recently.
Yes. Would you like to tell everyone what the DNS virus is, MarioMaster? Or just what the importance of the DNS virus is?
Well, okay, basically, it will reroute your DNS requests to a different server, thereby allowing you, making you lose internet access.
Yep. And the FBI actually has put out a page basically saying, listen guys, we're trying to look for anyone who still has the malware on their computer or might still have their malware. They were able to shut down a lot of it, but not all of it. Because, you see, about 250,000 computers around the world are at risk of losing their internet connection access on Monday because the malicious software at the heart of the hacking scam that the U.S. authorities shut down last November.
And experts have said that it's not that big of an issue. There's only a tiny number of computers that are could be at risk. And even if you are and haven't learned about it yet, and you lose your internet on Monday, the DNS services will bring that back up eventually, quite soon.
Yeah, but as of this week, about 247,000 computers worldwide were still infected by the Illyrian and Brethren, according to the security from DTECU, or something like that pronounced. That includes 45,355 computers in the United States. That means this is a worldwide problem.
Yes. The viruses were designed to redirect internet traffic through DNS servers controlled by criminals, according to the FBI, which are computer switchboards that route internet traffic, in case you weren't aware of what those were.
So basically viruses just start jumping into your computer.
Indeed.
Yep. So basically there will be a link in the description with the FBI's list of websites to go to check for the DNS virus, hosted specifically by the people in your area who control the DNS. They have it in the languages English, German, Finnish, Swedish, Dutch, French, English, and Dutch English.
A bunch of those were repeated, but they're
I
different
realize
domains.
that, yes. Basically, it's all covered depending on where you are. Like, they've got .us, .de, .fi, .ax, .be, .fr, .ca, Canada, .lu, and .nl. Those are the only ones that they have, so hopefully you speak one of those languages. But then again, I don't know why someone who doesn't speak English would really be watching this show.
Yeah.
Kind of hard. Alright, let's return to our topic and get out of the somewhat, not exactly morbid, just kind of darker side of things. Let's get funny!
Comedy!
Woo!
Yay!
Comedy over the years has been changing and morphing and turning into other things that people do not consider funny or people still consider funny. From the simple fart jokes to the intricate, intelligence jokes that you actually have to have a decent IQ to understand. Hey, MarioMaster!
Yes?
So the other day, a man walks into a bar and his date says she'd like to have some water. So he wanted to sound smart, so he said he'd have some H2O2. Yeah, it's not that funny. It means he's drinking poison.
Indeed.
Anyways, let's get on to the first thing that I know about. Stand-up comedy. In the past, stand-up comedy was basically something for entertainment where you guys could go to a club, have some fun, watch some guy stand on stage and embarrass the crap out of himself and talk about his family, friends, and relatives. Which I guess relatives is still family, but still. Over the years, it's evolved into something where it's become something that you can make a lot of money on if you're famous. The only problem with the fame is currently most of the stand-up comics you see on Comedy Central and Comedy Central Presents are a load of bullshit. They're not funny, they're not entertaining, and the people who do laugh at them usually will laugh at some of the simpler jokes and not at the comics who actually have a talent. Want to weigh in here, MarioMaster?
I haven't seen that much stand-up comedy, but from what I've seen, there are some talented Canadian comedians too. But
Well,
like,
yeah, of
we
course.
don't get a lot of comedy around here. Comedy is like an American pastime mostly. We have a few comics, but we don't have big network shows that have stand-up comedy in it.
Well, you have Comedy Central.
Well, that's more an American thing as well.
But it's
we
still,
have
still a show.
We have our localized version of that, which is the Comedy Network, which does its own comedy thing, but it's on it like really late at night.
Oh, fun times.
Late at night.
Yeah, so, I mean, versus past stand-up comedy was awesome. You had, like, Rodney Dangerfield, and I hope I'm saying the right name, because if I'm mixing him up with the famous magician who made the Statue of Liberty disappear again, I'm going to feel really dumb.
Again?
Yeah, I do it a lot. You think I'm kidding. I actually do it a lot. Past stand-up comedy, we had some of the funniest comics. These guys would make you laugh until you shit your pants. Nowadays, you have people who are hacks, like, what's that one guy's name who thinks he's all funny because he moves around a lot? I forget what his name is. It's like some generic name. All I know is that they're not that funny. If you want to see good comedy, usually going to a local stand-up area is good, but the only problem is, and I know from experience, even local stand-up comics are idiots. All they want to do is talk about sex, drugs, and alcohol. I tell a funnier joke, and I'm a teenager! I can't talk about sex, drugs, or alcohol when I'm on stage, or people will look at me like I'm crazy, and then my dad will go to jail!
Well, that's what's funny in the news. Well, in their eyes, apparently, they have set lists that are written for them, right?
No, they don't have set lists written for them. When you're a stand-up comic, you write your own jokes, and then when you become famous, then other people write your jokes. Either that, or if you look
funny in their eyes still, and I guess it resonates with them well enough. But yeah.
Yeah. For example, though, like there was a comic who was a year and a half older than me. He was young, and we were both in the same competition. I swear to God, he said, fuck, crack, weed, shit, sex, boning, fucking, and things like that at least 50 times in a 7-minute set.
Holy.
You okay there, MarioMaster?
I'm a bit flabbergasted by that, actually.
Well, it's true. I mean, when you have humor, there's a difference between good comedy and bad comedy, obviously, which is something that we've been mentioning this the whole time. Like, there's people who think the trolling stuff is funny. I can understand where it's funny. I see the humor in it. It's humor at someone else's expense. But then there's the comedy that's at the expense of the comic. That is generally what comics use as their thing. It's the expense. It's to their expense, not to the expense.
So it's self-deprecation.
Yes. That's what stand-up comedy generally is. You talk about your family, your friends, unless you're one of those yelling comics like those guys who have those really loud voices who people find funny, generally they can insult the crap out of everyone and people will laugh their ass off. Smile.
So if you want to insult other people, get a loud voice.
Yes. That is the only rule. Alright. What do we have next on the list, MarioMaster?
Next is movie comedy. Oh, God. Does this mean that we're talking about stuff like epic movie and disaster movie and the movies that try to be funny by making pop culture references?
Yep. That and the Comedy Central movies versus big screen movies and the Comedy Central shows versus, other shows. Fun times. Let's
So, this is a bit hypocritical for me. Because most of my comedy does come from pop culture references. But there's a difference between referencing pop culture and overloading pop culture references to the point where it's trying to be funny and almost failing. And sometimes actually failing.
Most of the time failing. Who are we kidding? Nowadays, most attempts of pop culture comedy movies fail.
And it's because they try and change it a little bit. Like, the one thing I remember from the pop culture funny parody movie is that Alvin and the Chipmunks got rabies.
Yeah, that was stupid.
That's the one thing I remember from that movie.
That wasn't even that good. That was the problem. Like here's one of the biggest issues I have with the pop culture comedy. They don't just try to work it in with their own storyline. They throw it at you every 2 seconds. Like, look, it's Alvin and the Chipmunks. Look, it's Beowulf.
It's definitely shoehorned in there. Yeah, there's a difference between referencing pop culture and working it in there, like I've tried to do. That's my stick. That's how I roll.
Yeah.
Shtick. It's a fun word.
Yeah.
There's a difference between working it in there and doing it well, and cramming it in there and making millions off of, hey, wait a minute.
What?
Nah, it's still a pretty bad idea.
Okay. Well, there is one guy who did well with the pop culture thing because he followed a certain train of thought. Mel Brooks. Spaceballs, Blazing Saddles, Men in Tights, A History of the World, I think it was called. He did make Get Smart, if I am correct, and that was a pretty good movie. Yeah, and he made some pretty dang good movies. I laughed my ass off at all of them. Though, for anyone who's now going to look up Blazing Saddles, I'm going to warn you, this was a little bit farther ago, because Mel Brooks was probably one of the earlier people to use interracial kind of satire and such. So it is a little bit harder for the younger generation to get, but if you can understand it, it is a very humorous movie. And what he did is he didn't throw pop culture references at you every 2 seconds. He worked them in there with his own damn story, and that's still a pop culture movie. Spaceballs, in my mind, that is the only parody of Star Wars. You cannot have a parody of Star Wars that beats Spaceballs.
They've tried. Oh god, everyone's tried. Family Guy has tried it several times.
Well, they're not a movie, and that's not what we're talking about, so...
Yeah.
We'll get to them later in the last part. Is that all you want for the movie stuff? Should we get to the next part? We only really did 4 minutes. Let's keep going on the movie.
Sure.
Then there's the movies that aren't comedies, but just have those little tiny bits that make them fucking hilarious. Like, for example, those of you who have seen The Avengers, warning, spoilers. Spoilers. Those of you who have seen The Avengers, I think the best parts of that movie were the moments where Hulk had those scenes where he just had those one moments. Like the part where Loki's like, I'm a god! You can't do anything to me! And Hulk grabs Loki and just smashes him into the floor consistently, and then says, puny god, and walks away. That and when he punches Thor once after they land in a building and they're taking a breather, he punches Thor to get revenge for Thor hitting him with the hammer out of the ship. That, and I do like the moment where it's like, I have an army! We have a Hulk.
Yeah.
That line...
I've been parodied all over Facebook.
Yeah, I have an army. I have an Exodia. Exodia! Obliterate! Oh wait, no, it was Exodia Smash. Anyways, Pharaoh's Throne, for anyone who's curious where I got that from. Comedy movies of the past. We kind of touched upon that, but I'd also like to mention Rodney Dangerfield made a hilarious school movie in the past that was also a very defining comedy movie, in my opinion. And again, comedy of the past, all of the old comedy movies are a billion times better than the current comedy movies. It kind of applies to horror also. Hey, that's a possible topic. The comedy of the past really doesn't suck.
That's really the best way we can both describe it.
Yeah, it just doesn't suck. Anyways, on to dark comedy. This one's a little bit weird. You know what dark comedy is, right, MarioMaster? Like the things that kind of revolve around death and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I can speak from experience that you should never do dark comedy as a stand-up comic unless you're in an area that actually is used to dark comedy. Oh my God, this man had the stupidest stand-up that I'm not even going to get into. Let me just put it this way. He was supposed to be done at 10 minutes. He went until 20 minutes doing this stupid, "Ladies and gentlemen, it is Mr. like this really long joke that no one laughed at. And at all intents and purposes in the stand-up comedy world, we call that sucking the owner's dick. By that I mean the owner of the club, because he wanted time in the future. It was a very big club, and I actually got to perform there. If any of you would like to know, leave a comment in the comment section below.
Sweet.
Anyways, dark...
But, like, did he go through his entire set just in that stupid voice? Because...
Oh my God, no.
Yeah.
If he did, no one would give two shits. I was actually the funniest comic at this thing, and it was a giant stand-up event at this place called Riot Act in Washington, D.C., which is now closed, I'm sorry to say, because there was a feud with the owners. Two of the owners kicked the actual owner, the guy who started it out, stole all of his emails, and started kind of going behind his back. There was then a giant lawsuit, and Riot Act regained its name, but cannot open the club in the same location again.
Oh. So, dark comedy then.
Yes.
Yes.
Nothing.
I haven't seen much of dark comedy myself.
Dark
Like,
comedy. Here's a good example.
There's dark comedy in video games in some occasions.
Lone Survivor has a decent amount of that. So does... Well, actually, here's a good example of a show. There was a show on the Escapist magazine. Wow, we just plug everything on this show, don't we?
Yeah.
On the Escapist magazine, called There Will Be Brawl. It was a general...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it was a general...
I've seen that.
You saw it?
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah, that was dark comedy. Because the way that they played on slight satires the characters while they were in a serious environment. Dark comedy is hard to understand for some people, but if you really like dark comedy, obviously you'd be laughing your ass off at dark comical stuff. But for the people who are not really fond of dark comedy, like don't personally strive to find dark comedy stuff, you'd still enjoy it. You just wouldn't laugh consistently. And the people who are really just, no offense to those of you who don't understand it at all, it's hard to understand for the people who can't kind of think creatively enough. Sometimes it's harder to understand.
I can vouch for that. I don't go searching for dark comedy everywhere, and that means that I haven't seen it, like, at all. I'll go, like, months or years without seeing anything that's dark, but I can notice it and appreciate it.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. It's a good outlet for comedy. It's not terrible like stand-up comedy on Comedy Central. And Epic Movie and
That's a
Meet the
segue.
Spartans and everything. So terrible. Good.
This is what happens in the current comedy world. Comedians that are good go into fetal positions every single day.
Yeah. And MarioMaster hasn't even actually heard my stand-up, but I can vouch for myself. I know that's going to sound kind of egotistical, but I can vouch for myself.
I can vouch that I am a pretty good comic.
I can vouch that I don't suck. Yeah. Okay, on to the wow, did I just hit my mic? Wow. Comedy Central Presents versus Comedy Central Movies versus Comedy Central Shows.
Basically, the Comedy Central standoff. Oh, good.
In this corner, weighing in at a whole crap ton of horrible stand-up comics, we have Comedy Central Presents. In this corner, we have Comedy Central Movies directed by directors that you may or may not have heard of, that may or may not have been on the big screen, and are now considered free movies because of the fact that their rating was not good enough in the sales market, and now are shown on this, but are actually sometimes pretty dang good. And in this corner, we have the Comedy Central shows that people actually care about, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Tosh.0,
and
Scrubs,
Futurama,
Scrubs, A Workaholic Sing It's a Piece of Crap, Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Comedy, Colbert Report. Did I say Tosh.0?
Yes, you did.
Is there anything I'm forgetting?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's get this thing going.
Yes. That was overdone.
That was the longest wrestling intro I've ever heard.
Yeah, imagine if they actually did something like that. That would be comical, as if you just see him sitting there and do it like that. You
They're
see,
just standing there going, like, tapping their feet.
yeah, you see, the way the guy did it at the comedy show wasn't right, but if it was actually, like, in the preference of, like, that, it's funnier, because you see, like, in this corner, we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. In this corner, we have Pedro Rodriguez, Julio Gonzalez the Third, the mighty stallion from down under in Spanish land of Puerto Rico, with all of his family here, his family being his wife, Julia.
Oh, God.
I just said Julia.
And then it lists his cousins and
His
second
cousins,
cousin.
yes. It's like, and also his lawyer, Jeff, who bid against him. I also bid against him. Basically, what you doing? Like, it just goes higher and higher.
And then the announcer's head explodes, and they have to hire a new guy.
Then they hire me.
Yes, they would hire you.
What, I do all these other jobs as is.
True.
Okay, let's actually get to it now. Holy
Comedy
crap.
Central!
Yes. Comedy Central Presents usually consists of comics within the area of where Comedy Central is. Generally, that does actually usually mean Washington, D.C. area. But the problem is the Comedy Central Presents usually find just whatever comic has a funny show once. This means that if they have a whole bunch of their friends and they send in a thing, there's a chance that they can get on Comedy Central. The reason why this is not good is because they suck.
So, you're not saying that because you're biased against yourself being a comic.
No, it's... They don't have much talent. They think they're funny. Comedy is not about laughing at yourself. It's about making other people laugh. You can find something you do funny, but it doesn't mean anyone else does. Comedy is situational. You have to look at something. If you think it's funny, you have to ask yourself, why'd you think it's funny? Not say, ha ha, sex is funny because I did it with a midget.
If you did that exact phrase at a comedy show, how would that react?
Well, if I did it in that
voice.
accent and in the context, possibly get laughs, actually.
There you go. But, like, we have our own version of that. Like I said, we have our own version of Comedy Network, and of course we have to rip that show off. So we have Comedy Network Presents, and it's that same sort of deal. There's just people in the base Comedy Network area that get on that show and do stuff.
Indeed.
Perform their set lists for national TV. National TV.
Mm-hmm. Damn
Yes.
straight.
But I've never seen it because they throw it on at like midnight when no one is watching it anyway.
It's always fun. Okay. Well, the other parts of Comedy Central are not as bad. The Comedy Central movies. By that, I mean, well, there's a good chance you haven't heard of any of them. But there will be actors you recognize. One of them that I personally enjoy is the movie Dodgeball, an underdog story. Basically, you got what's-his-face. Shit.
Is that his name? No, it's not his
He's
name.
in this upcoming movie, the Neighborhood Watch, or whatever. He's the... Vince Vaughn, there you go. Wait. Vince Vaughn has hair, right? Black hair?
Sure.
Shit. MarioMaster, talk about a movie while I look up Vince Vaughn.
Oh, hey, damn. Well, movies that come out, comedy movies. Well, some of the shows have direct-to-DVD movies. Futurama had like 4 of those. That made up an entire TV season.
And
Does that count?
Where was Futurama anywhere before Comedy Central?
Yes, it was on Fox before.
Really?
That's where they had most of their first 4 seasons, and then it got canceled, and then they had the 4 movies, and then it got rehired, I guess, back to Comedy Central.
Yeah. Vince Vaughn, yeah, it is. By the way, I'd like to mention one thing. I don't like Vince Vaughn as an actor. I'm sorry, I just don't like Vince Vaughn as an actor. He's untalented. Almost all the movies and almost all of his pictures, his mouth is always open. I want to... to take the word from the nostalgic critic, I really just want to take my finger, put it over his lips, and go... Other movies that you might have seen him in are, as I said, Dodgeball, Couples Retreat, Wedding Crashers, and the upcoming movie The Watch.
So, I'm fixated
Holy
on
shit!
this.
Wait,
You
one
say that
thing,
the
one
mountain's
thing,
always
one thing,
open.
one thing, one thing. His
Okay.
siblings' names are Victoria Vaughn and Valerie Vaughn.
Huh. They have a theme going, don't they?
Yes! They seem to.
So when you say that his mouth is always open, does that mean that he's always talking, or does he always perpetually have it open?
Perpetually have it open trying to catch flies.
Wow. Okay. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
What, the fact that it's open?
Yes, why would anyone do that?
He doesn't do
And
it on
expect to
purpose.
be-
He's a bad actor. He only has one way of acting. I've never seen him in a good, serious movie. I've never seen him in a serious movie that I've given a shit about that I could remember the next day. Oh wait, there was a serious movie, but you know what? It was so bad that I laughed at it. I think it was called The Cell or something like that. It's where basically he dives into this serial killer's brain. The serial killer was put into a coma to find out where this woman has been trapped. And like they go through this line of load of bullshit, and I'm just amazed at the fact that this entire time they're doing. But by the way, another thing from the nostalgia critic, I agree with him. I'm amazed at the fact that they're doing all these things like starting a relationship and all this shit while there's a woman still drowning.
Yeah, that seems kind of weird to me. Also, it's supposed to be a serious movie, but it involves like time travel and shit. You can do serious with that, but like,
What movie?
it doesn't come off well
What movie?
to me.
What movie are you talking about?
The movie the subject that we're on right now.
It doesn't have
It's
time
supposed to be
travel.
a serious movie.
It has time
and
travel?
then he goes, yeah, well, not time travel, but he dives into a woman's brain, right? How are you supposed to
thought he
take that seriously?
dived-
Is it like in the future?
Wait,
Does
I
it
thought he
have?
dived into the serial killer.
Oh.
And the woman dived first, and then he went in after her after she thought it was reality.
Ah, I see.
And then some really weird, fucked up scenes where they're taking out his large intestine on like a spinning thing. That's like the only scene I remember, and
It's bad if you can only remember one scene from a movie, basically.
it's bad. It's like there's Comedy Central movies that are good, but it's not because of Vince Vaughn. It is never because of the actors. I like
It's never because of Vince Vaughn, especially.
Yeah, but I do like Daniel Tosh as a comedian, I must say. Also, Owen Wilson sucks. Will Ferrell sucks. Ben Stiller sucks. I'd really just like to mention that. I don't like any of them. None of them have any really good talent. They all have the same exact acting style. And then there's that one guy who has kind of a screwed up face who was in the movie Cyrus, so I can't remember his name again, worked with Will Ferrell on that one movie, the Step Brothers. Who was that? It was... here we go. Step Brothers, John C. Reilly, and Will Ferrell starring in that one. That was another crap movie. Mostly because why the hell would you show a guy teabagging a fucking drum set? We actually saw John C. or Will Ferrell's
Did you
nuts.
say teabagging a drum set?
Yes, they show his penis.
Well, why would he get intimate with a drum set?
I don't know. All I can say is I like the shows on Comedy Central, though. The movies are lacking a lot. Some of them are good, some of them are terrible. And I know I'm probably offending a lot of people by saying that a lot of them sucked, but they just did. I'm sorry, boys and girls. They did. On to the shows. Tosh.0, The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, Colbert Report, and the other good stuff. They are good because they are never serious. They follow the train of this is what we're going to do, this is what we always do. Tosh.0 appeals to the internet. The Daily Show and Colbert Report appeal to telling people the news. And would you like to say... Yeah, dude.
In the only time I can chip in on this, Futurama is about, well, the future. But, like, it is sometimes serious, and it breaks that mold to me. It's billed as a comedy, and it is a comedy, but they'll do really serious shit sometimes and meld it into the comedy. And to the point where you don't even realize that it's coming at you, and then it comes at you and you're like, whoa.
Fun fact, hey MarioMaster, what does Futurama and The Simpsons have in common?
They were both created by Matt Groening. That is how you pronounce his last name.
Oh, wow, I actually didn't know that. yeah, the Futurama originally on Fox. Fox is another interesting place for satire, like House. I don't need the rules. No, wow, we are already almost out of time.
Oh, well.
This is why we need a revisit episode. If any of you would like to revisit us to revisit either any of the shows from our past channels, MarioMaster channel or the Huntzerz channel, or this channel, please leave in the comments below revisit and the topic name, and we will revisit it and continue any discussion we have, because we do have time standards nowadays, especially because the fact of something special will be coming soon to the channel.
Oh yes,
special.
There'll be a certain topic that has special stuff in it.
It's not exactly about the topic, it's more about the content of what... Anyways, so yes, there's a lot about... Let's wrap this up with a good wrap-up. There's a lot about comedy nowadays that has dropped the bar. When you go back into the past, you see a lot of good comedy. And when you go into the future, who knows what we'll see. What do you think we'll see in the future, MarioMaster?
I don't know. I'm hoping things will pick up eventually.
Yeah.
Everything kind of evens itself out at some point, right?
I mean, I hope.
People will... Yeah. A man can dream.
Yeah.
Or it'll just deteriorate further, and then all comedy will die as a medium.
Holy shit. The world will end if comedy dies, dude.
Yeah. People need laughter, you better laugh.
I'm waiting until the day where Comedy Central comes to my dad and says, please save our channel. I'm dead serious. People actually say to my dad, he's hilarious, and he knows how to operate comedy. He runs shows and things like that. I'm waiting for Comedy Central to go, please save our channel.
Well, with that note...
But then again, comedy will continue to degrade as people find it still funny. Mostly because the fact of Idiocracy is a good example of that. I liked Idiocracy. That's another movie. And that's a good example of what the world can become.
So it can deteriorate further.
Yes, until we have buttfuckers as an actual restaurant.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. And on that
world where comedy is even worse.
And on that note, we give you to What the Fuck Are You On, hosted by our friend R. Anything else you want to say, MarioMaster, before we hand it over?
Not as such, no.
Alright, we'll see you guys after the show. Bye-bye.
Hello and welcome to What the Fuck Are You On, where we take a look at this world in the news and make you go, what the fuck are you on? I'm your host, R, so let's get started, shall we? This title covers Coke. Oh, I love Coke. Oh, not that Coke? Okay. A 17-year-old San Diego boy found himself in a pickle. Why is he in a pickle, you ask? Because he's too cheap to buy a Coke. Instead, he tries to steal one and get his arm stuck in the process. The teen stuck his hand into the receiving slot of a Coca-Cola vending machine and reached all the way into his shoulder, at which point he became stuck. I remember when I got stuck. Oh wait, that's never happened to me. I'm not that dumb. Sometimes the show just writes itself. A trolley rider spotted the boy in trouble and called for help. Firefighters, police, paramedics, and trolley security, because they didn't have anything better to do, all responded except the parents of the boy, who were too ashamed of their son to admit this was their kid. Hey, we found this boy. Is it yours, Mom? No. I've never seen this boy before in my life. Are you sure? You have pictures of him in your house. He's a criminal after all. He could have just broken into my house and changed my photos. With no keys to be found, rescuers had to resort to using a rotary saw to cut the machine open, which took another hour upon the time the boy spent in the machine. The boy was removed and checked out by paramedics. Once cleared, police took him into custody. He was facing charges of petty theft. We know from Huntzer's job as a beggar, or so he tells me, you can get $1.25 anywhere, even begging. You don't need to rob the Coke machine. Oh, I can picture what this kid's future will be like. He finally gets a girl, and gets his hand in the condom machine because he couldn't pay 5 cents. The fucking medical bills cost more than the soda, and also the jail time isn't worth it either. All that for a Coke? Wow. Mr. Idiot of the world here. Let's move on to something older, a lot older. 64, you remember your golden years. The happy pictured man to my right is Jack Snyder from Port Richey, Florida. Jack is happy because it's his birthday. Jack is pictured because he celebrated his birthday by getting naked. Jack, who turned 64 Monday, dropped his pants on Port Richey, Florida street corner and waggled his Johnson at the school bus transporting children home from Casico Elementary. Sadly for Jack, his stunt was witnessed by a grandmother driving past to pick up her grandson. She placed a call to the sheriff's office after stopping to check out Sydney's naked butt and figuring he's too crazy. Shortly after, the sheriff's office began receiving additional calls from concerned parents whose children arrived home with stories of seeing old Mr. Snyder's genitals. Old Mr. Snyder's at it again. Oh wait, more people are calling? Okay, better get doing. Snyder, who was still on the scene when deputies arrived, reportedly told one of the officers he thought the stunt would be funny since children, relatives, school staff, and law enforcement were not aware of his birthday. The birthday suit gag fell flat. I know from Huntzer's other job as a comedian, that joke isn't that good. I'm still trying to get the image out of my head. We're still trying to pay bail. Luckily, we were able to borrow MarioMaster censor bar. Snyder has been recently released from the Pacifico jail following a 2-month stint for failure to appear. He picks this not to appear to. Geesh. His bond was set at $50,000. Wow, I hope for your 65th birthday you learned your lesson. Okay, on to the next story. Let's go to the cyber world. Now, people know how to wipe a hard drive, right? When FBI agents burst into the bedroom of Camille Mescal, they found Camille Mescal standing in his boxers, clutching a two-handed samurai sword. The feds were there to question him about 40,000 images of child pornography they believed were linked on his computer. McKells was apparently trying to destroy evidence. Not very well, mind you. He forgot about the delete key. Oh no, the cops are coming. Oh look, a samurai sword. Better stab my computer then. I don't see how this could ever go wrong. More commands were given for McKells to drop the samurai sword, all of which McKells ignored and refused to obey, wrote the FBI special agent who led the raid. McKells began to remove the samurai sword from the computer as law enforcement officers advanced on him in order to secure and eliminate potential danger. The 21-year-old was wrestled to the ground by cops and placed in handcuffs and taken downstairs to sit on a couch that was probably in front of a window after McKells agreed to speak to the FBI agent without a sword and a lawyer. Probably the more dangerous of the two is the lawyer. Probably the agents provided him clothing and took him outside to their vehicle for a chat. Well, that's one way to clear your hard drive. I wonder how that chat went. So you stabbed your computer. with the sword. Good job, buddy. You're going away for a long time. With Bubba, and he likes to stick swords into things too. Okay, we all know The Onion is America's finest news source, but did you also know it's truly news? Congressional dumbass thinks The Onion is real. A Republican congressman from Louisiana has become the laughingstock of the internet after posting a story from The Onion to his Facebook wall and then commenting on the sad, evil state of the world. Congressmen just like us. Or rather, just like our elderly conservative great uncles who think that an abortionplex is a real thing. Louisiana, I feel real sorry for you. Luckily, there is an election coming up, so you might be able to vote this guy out of office if you wanted. Congressman John Fleming might be comically out of touch and maybe a little stupid, but his friends on the social networks aren't. After he posted a link to the article entitled Planned Parenthood opens $8 billion abortionplex and remarking, more on Planned Parenthood abortion by the wholesale, an expressed follower remarked, The Onion is the satire. How exactly did you get elected? The embarrassed lawmaker quickly deleted the errant post, but not before those rascals over at the BuzzFeed got a screenshot. Oh wow, this article sounds amazing, I must read it. It pretty much says Planned Parenthood announced Tuesday the grand opening of its long-planned $8 billion abortionplex in Topeka, Kansas. Wow, this guy doesn't even know his own party. That place wouldn't even fit in Topeka, Kansas. And Topeka's a little crazy. I've known ever since it became Google, Kansas for a day, but they're not crazy to go pro-abortion now. Oh my god, guys, I get to cover real-life fairy. Well, not exactly. Susan Warren has been accused of breaking into a house. Guess what she did? Hey guys, $10 says she robbed the place.
$10 says she cleaned the place.
Oh yeah, you're on. She cleaned the place. Damn. Looks like I owe MarioMaster $10 now. Yes, when the police confronted Susan Warren, 53, about the alleged early morning break-in, she told them she does this all the time. Wait, all the time? How have you not been caught yet? Warren allegedly broke into a home in Westlake, Ohio after picking the house at random while driving down the street, she said. When the homeowner's 18-year-old daughter woke up to find the house had been cleaned, she assumed her parents had organized the maid after finding a bill with Warren's name, phone number on it, and it told them they need to pay $75. Well, we all know from Huntzer's job as a maid for the late night offices, $75 is a little much for her work. Warren had taken out the trash, vacuumed the carpet, and cleaned up the playroom. When her daughter mentioned the cleaner, Sherry Bush, the owner of the house, said she had not organized one and assumed a cleaning service sent someone to the wrong house. When they called Warren, and she said she does this all the time and randomly picks houses to clean, Warren is now in Chicago County Jail, still expecting to be paid. Good luck on that. Clean your jail cell, why don't you? Yeah, then you'll get paid. Well, guys, that's my last story for tonight. Back to you, Mario and Luigi. Oh, yeah. Your princess is in another castle.
So I'm Mario, right?
I suppose. I've always liked the color green.
Yeah, you know it's green like money. I don't know. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching The Late Night with MarioMaster and Huntzerz.
And if you would like to be a part of the show, You can still audition. We're looking for guests for our segments still.
Obviously, you still have to follow the constraints of it must be 15 minutes or less and must must do something that is original and not yet done in the show. Hypersonic has now joined the show, but we are still looking for room, because this show can be as long as we really want, but we are holding each segment to a certain time constraint.
I believe it was like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Unless people start to really like it, then we might extend it. Like, What the Fuck Are You On seems to be getting some decent appreciation, so we might extend that by a few minutes here or there. You know, little bits. Not much. Also,
So
make sure to like
and subscribe and favorite and all that good stuff that people do.
all that good stuff. Make sure to share it with your friends and, you know, just keep subscribing them to us so that you guys can see more when it comes out. Every other week we have a new episode.
Indeed. Also, if you would like us, on the topic of episodes, if you would like us to do a revisit episode, once again, you can just put in revisit and the topic that we have discussed. It can either be from this channel or our previous pilot season, I guess, of Late Night on your channel, and I think one of those was on mine.
Yeah, one or two. Also, if you have an idea that you want us to do for some reason or a topic you want us to discuss, leave that in the comments. Let us know. And basically, we like to entertain, so make sure to just tell us really what you want to see, and we may or may not do it.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yes?
Alright. So, from all of us here at Late Night, I have been MarioMaster, the MarioMaster even. I have to have that prefix there.
Yep, and I have been Huntzerz. Thank you all for watching.